ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 280 of the Drunk Casters podcast. I'm your host as always, I'm Tyler. And joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Tyler. I'm alright. I'm just thinking about the possibilities right now because of the fact that football season is almost upon us. I'm getting more and more excited. And at the same time, I'm also looking at jersey stuff because I am contemplating potentially going to an NFL game within the next maybe 5 months. But other than that, though, I'm doing pretty well. Man, how you doing?
Having football withdrawals for sure.
Yeah.
It's been a major conversation at work lately about being excited for football, or how we're at. I think a lot of people at work are in the same boat as me. I might be worse off. I was watching a game on the NFL Network the other day. It was the Bears versus the Bengals. And if anybody knows, those two teams are awful. But, it's football. I'll watch it. I spent an insane amount of time the other day watching YouTube videos of just Madden 19 gameplay. So, I mean, curious. The game comes out in less than a month now, a few weeks away. Excited for it, obviously. And oddly enough, we haven't seen a lot of gameplay for it. So I'm like, what does it look like? What's going on with this game? And I kind of looked at it. And I spent almost an hour of just watching YouTube videos about the gameplay. I'm just like, I can't. Even though I have Madden 18, I can play it anytime. I know. I miss football.
I know the feel, man. It's like at my workplace too. You can really feel it too because they're setting up their whole. They've already set up their whole display for their whole Seattle Seahawks, like Merc and everything else. I know. But it's like they have everything else all set up. They purposely have like a freaking big old Gaylord box that they fill with Seahawks stuff every year. Then they wait for this time just to go ahead and try to sell things. And obviously, everybody around my work knows that I'm a huge 49ers fan. Born and raised. Anyway, what's kind of funny, and now as it's starting to drift into the workplace, is like I've let it known out there that I'm a Niners fan. I've purposely wore team merchandise to work in my production line stuff, getting crazy looks from like the other co-workers plus supervisors alike. And it's just kind of funny. This little banter back and forth. Like one day I was actually going forth. I was passing by one of the ladies in the linen section, not the textile hanging section and stuff like that. She takes one look at me. It's like, "Oh, you traitor!" It's like I look at her dead in the face, and it's like, "Wow!" It's like that look on your face. It looks like you're gonna murder me in my sleep. But no. That's the thing. I have this one lady. She is a big Seahawks fan, right? And she just fucking absolutely hates like people like Tom Brady and like the fucking 49ers and stuff like that. And it was just so funny. I look her dead in her face, and it's like, well, you know what? In order for me to be a traitor, I would have had to have been a Seahawks fan to begin with.
Yeah. fuck the Seahawks.
But yeah, it's gotten to the point and stuff where it's like I'm having like one of my supervisors, some come over the table and say, "Man, what is this, man? A freaking Confederate flag in this workstation." No, it's just a thing. It's like for gamers who don't know, man, it's like if you're into like a specific sports team or any type of stuff or like NFL related things or even baseball, basketball, man, the potential rivalry between teams over the like decades long feuds and stuff, that's just something that just comes with the territory. Yep. Of course, I just laugh it off and stuff like that because I know for a fact the Seahawks are probably going to do even worse now than they probably have now for the last 5 years because they're a dwindling defense. But I digress.
Yeah. See, I'm okay with... I feel like I'm a pretty good sports fan as far as like having conversations with people. Like when I was younger, I would be like the irrational, like angry, super optimistic, fan. But now I've gotten older. I'm very pessimistic about like my teams. So like when I discuss it with people at work or just out in the wild, like the nothing's more annoying than that like overly like optimistic, like insane reality. Like where you come like you were like one step below from the Browns being 19-0. Okay, Like that's how insane you are right now. And those are the worst. Those are the worst sports fans.
Yes, there are.
So I'm very much like people like to make jokes about like the Packers or Pistons or Hawkeyes or whatever, and I'm just like it's the same with me. People like to when they crack jokes at me. Nobody can make fun of me more than me. Okay, so no one can really make fun of me. So really, so people don't really bother. So people try to take shots at at the Packers or whatever. Like I just like I'll one up them. You know, they want to take a shot at the running game. I'll just one up them again. Like the Packers running game sucks. We know. We got Aaron Rodgers. He's the GOAT. We know. We got him. That's all we got. Like they're a 2-14 team without him. Like he makes
that's actually pretty accurate.
Yes, we know what happens when Rodgers isn't around. We go like 2-8 without him last year. So. Yeah.
Holy shit. That's sort of like how the Niners are without fucking Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah,
you know how they freaking struggle for years, man? It's like freaking 2-14 a couple years ago. They had to go through their whole rookie quarterback thing with CJ Beathard and stuff. He pretty much had to go through and just start a bunch of those games.
You be careful what you say. He's an Iowa Hawkeye legend, okay?
Of course, to be perfectly honest, he was still inexperienced with a lot of this stuff too, and he did the best of what he was handed with.
Yeah.
Which was pretty much a shards of a broken team to begin with.
Yeah, it's a bad team.
To put it lightly.
They got Jimmy G. He is as good a quarterback as he is a beautiful man. Okay? And he's a very beautiful man.
And all of a sudden, it's like, that's a good case in point, like Aaron Rodgers, when he's with the Packers and stuff, that team is elevated to another level. Yeah. Same thing really could be said with, Jimmy G, the last 5 games in the NFL season. All of a sudden, it's like, he starts that, and all of a sudden they go 5-0 in that stretch. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I digress and stuff. This is a video game podcast, but as you can tell, both of us are really chomping at the teeth for some NFL action.
I can't wait for preseason right now. Every year, once football season starts, I'm like, why would I want to watch preseason? But then May hits, and I'm just like, I will take anything. I'll watch the CFL. I don't care. I was watching the American Flag Football League, the AFFL. I didn't know it was a thing.
Oh my god!
But I watched it, and I enjoyed it.
And you're gonna say the same thing once the XFL comes in after the NFL season.
No, I will not. XFL. No, that's one step too far.
No,
I'm just, man. Somebody posts every year. Someone posts a picture of the NCAA football, which is one of my favorite franchises of all time. They quit making it in 2013. Yeah, that was the last one because there's a big lawsuit over college kids not getting paid for being in the game, which is fair. So they just stopped making it. It was one of the highest selling games every year, and every year it always came out in mid-July. It was the second or third Tuesday of every July. Every year, I'll see people on Facebook or Twitter will this game should have came out today, and it'll be a picture of whoever the Heisman Trophy winner was, and it'll be a picture of the game coverage on Xbox One.
Oh,
and I saw it again this Tuesday, this past Tuesday, and every time I see it, man, you might as well just punch me in the chest and through the chest, rip my heart out, and stomp on the ground. It's that painful still.
We could still thank EA for that nonsense.
Yeah, but it's kind of fair. The kids should get some money for that. They're in the game.
Of course.
Pay them.
You're in the game.
Yeah, we're gonna make them look just like you, have all the same kind of stats as you, same number and everything. But we're just gonna call them QB number 6. So we don't. But then people go online and they make their own custom rosters, and you can go online and download them, and then you can just pull them in. Now I have all these college kids with the real names in the game. So
there you go.
Did that every year. Yeah, I'm still a little upset about it. I miss NCAA football a lot. I didn't think 5 years later I'd still miss it, but I do a lot. I miss it so much I paid an additional $20 to play Madden 19 3 days early. So that tells you where I'm at in life right now. Anyways, like Gables was trying to say a few minutes ago, well, this is a video game podcast where we talk about video games, which technically we were talking about video games, in a sense. But so we are still in like the summer, the dog days of summer. Like,
Yep.
this is like the ML, like Major League Baseball has like the same kind of almost like season, I guess, or I don't know, schedule as
Yeah.
like video games do, where like in the middle, like in June, July, and August, it's like nobody really cares about baseball. It's like it's the dog days of summer, and then it's like September when we start to care again, or like late August.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep.
Like we're all excited in like April and and May, maybe the beginning of June, and it's just like it's like mid-season. There's like 162 games, and we're kind of at the same point now with Major League Baseball, where it's July, and not a lot's happening. We do have some news, nothing like crazy, but I guess we'll just start with that. Fuck it, we're already
All right.
talking about it. So first up, this might be some big news potentially. This is one of the bigger news I think of the week. This may be personally for me, but Nathan Fillion of Firefly fame, a man I would fillet for free if he was here, posted on Instagram a picture of the rapper Drake and captioned it with "Sic Parvis Magna," which is greatest from small beginnings. Which for people that don't know is the like main slogan of Nathan Drake from Uncharted. It's on his ring that he wears all the time, and also the date July 16th.
Huh.
Yeah, which I didn't realize this until then. Next week is the San Diego Comic-Con, which is like one of the biggest, probably like it's like the E3 of like nerd culture for like comics and movies, like
Oh yeah.
like comic book movies and stuff.
It's basically one of the prime Comic-Con conventions, San
Yeah.
Diego.
Yeah, that's like all like the A team shows up for this. Not the actual A team, like Mr. T might be there. I don't know, but I mean like the like the all stars of like every like the people from like the Avengers will probably be there and stuff like that. So
Nice.
Gables,
What?
I've wanted this for so long. Like this has been a thing. Like Nathan Fillion as Nathan Drake has been a thing on the internet for nearly a decade.
Oh
like-
my god.
Nathan Drake looks so similar to Nathan Fillion, but like skinnier. Like Nathan Fillion kind of got fat after Firefly, but he posted some pictures online to kind of continue the tease with it on Instagram, and he's dropped some weight. He's looking pretty good. He's looking more like an Uncharted 4 Nathan Drake, but he's looking pretty good. So, Gables, should I get excited about this, or should I like where are you, Gables, on this? Like, you're an Uncharted fan.
Yeah.
You're a Firefly fan. I don't know.
Yeah.
Would you fillet Nathan Fillion for free, or would you make him pay? I'm curious. Like, there's
Anyway.
no, like, you wouldn't not do it. Like, it's just either he asks for money or you do it for free. There's no other options. What would you do?
Well, as long as I'm not gonna. Well, let's see. I'm not gonna answer that. I'm not gonna answer that question. But well, that's a little bit of news. That's kind of the first I'm aware of. Honestly, this is gonna be an interesting San Diego Comic Con. I would love to see Nathan Fillion as Nathan Drake. That would actually be pretty fucking awesome. But at the same point, I would just take something with a grain of salt. You know how he loves to screw around with his fan base too. So this is gonna be pretty funny if, say, the day comes and all of a sudden it's like, "Ha, gotcha."
It's not funny at all, Gables. It's not funny one goddamn bit. Maybe solely. If you can play Soul, just be a part of it. I don't care. I just want Nathan Fillion to do something with this. If he's not Nathan Drake, I can live with that. But if this turns out to be nothing, I will be just heartbroken. Like instantly football, video games canceled, heartbroken all over again. That's how bad it is.
He just plays Cutter.
That's like man, that's like the worst thing you can say outside of like Jason Statham as Cutter.
Oh god.
That's like the closest you can get to being that terrible. Which
God.
might actually be a thing, like because Jason Cutter is basically a ripoff of Jason Statham.
Pretty much. Pretty much almost to a T.
Yeah, it's like they don't even try to hide the fact that he is. Oh God, I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm being hopeful. Like they've been trying to make the Uncharted movies for like a decade now.
Yep.
There was that, like, Mark Wahlberg signed on like in 2011,
Yep.
and it was like the worst thing that has ever happened to me at that point in my life. Still top 5 worst things to ever happen to me at that point this point in my life. Like who
A movie role.
who thought that was a good idea? Like, really? Like, why?
Why would you have Marky Mark as Nathan Drake?
No, like he did. Oh God, that sucks. That sucks so bad. I'm so happy that movie got canceled. Or that fell through. But I don't know. It would just be the closest thing. It's probably too late to really be like a. Like if you played him like in like 10 years ago, you can maybe get away with it somewhat. Like even then, 10 years ago, Nathan Fillion might be a little too old for it. Like early 2000s, Nathan Fillion's been perfect. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just man, I hope so. I hope. Would you want this, Gables? Would you?
Of course I would want it. That would be interesting to have.
Okay, I'm just curious. I don't want no Nathan Fillion haters on this podcast. So.
Oh, come on. I went through Firefly. I went through all sorts of various stuff with Nathan Fillion before, so hey.
Yeah. I was at work, I think it was late last week or early, beginning of this week, and we had work uniforms. We were all getting dressed in the locker room in the morning, just doing normal bullshit stuff, and somebody mentioned Firefly.
Oh, no.
And somebody said, and I quote, that show deserved to be canceled.
Ooh, how to make enemies at work.
And I lost my shit. And I was like, dude, it is 5 in the fucking morning. Do not get me going on Firefly right now. And a couple people are like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? What the fuck is Firefly? And I'm like, that is a great show. It didn't get a chance. And I started going on a rant.
Oh my God, boy. Tyler.
It still hurts. It hurts. Yeah. Firefly. Yeah. So anyways, I hope it's real. But yeah, I don't know. Not a lot saying. I guess we'll hear more on hopefully Monday, which is July 16th.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm just gonna skip that topic. That topic sucks. Rocket League 2 is not happening, people. That's essentially the topic. We didn't have topics really, and then we kind of found some last minute. So I'm just gonna skip over that. So anyways, this came out after they had a shareholders meeting. What Nintendo did, I should say. And someone asked a question, and Susumi Tanaka, a senior executive officer at Nintendo, was asked about better supporting indie games, things like that. And this is his exact quote. We started working with indie developers during the Wii U generation. For Nintendo Switch, we set up a development environment that supports Unity middleware, which is used on smartphones and other platforms. We are also actively engaging with indie developers at video game focused shows and other events at different regions. We also had a Nintendo booth at Bit Summit Indie Game event in Kyoto. Kyoto,
yeah.
Thank you. Where we showcased some games. Some of the indie games we also already released have gone up on to become million sellers worldwide. In the future, and this is my favorite part, we are looking to release around 20 to 30 indie games on Nintendo Switch per week. And we definitely expect to see some great games among them. Some great games among them. So Gables.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on Nintendo releasing 1,400 to 1,500 video games per year on your Switch?
Well, to be perfectly honest, though, having thought about it over the past couple days, just from seeing the various reactions upon it, I'm thinking of it this way: maybe 20 to 30 indie games. Yeah, that is a lot to go forth and release on the platform. However, at the same point, it is definitely a lot better than, say, 40 to 50 games a day, say, on Steam.
Yeah.
But the same could be said between both services. You release so many games in a particular week. odds are you're gonna bury some good gems underneath all that. And the Nintendo eShop currently right now, it is very difficult to go through and find some of the games you're looking for without having to dig deep inside the search, in the search functions of that system. Good point. And a good example that I could think of is trying to find games, say, that are like maybe a month or two old or something like that are not on sale. Like, for example, if you want to try to find a game, say, I would say, what was it? What was the game that I played? I know you and Justin played a bit that came on the Wii U, and it was also on the Vita as well. I remember playing a little bit of it. Oh, God bless
Frederick?
it. No. It's not Frederick. It's the game that's made by Drinkbox Games. The Dungeon Crawler.
Oh, boy.
I know exactly what the game is, though. I'm just trying to remember.
It's maybe the Luchador game?
No. It was not that. It's the one that's after.
Oh, the slashing game.
Yep.
I do not remember what it's called. I'll Google it right now. Continue.
I know it's totally bad, but anyway, it's only bad that I don't remember the name of it, considering that it's actually a pretty fantastic game in and of itself. But Severed, exactly. Yep. Point being is, a game like Severed, great game. I cannot find this game hardly at all, like say on the front featured game pages and stuff, and it is without a doubt one of the best indie games on that platform. I cannot find it unless I gotta dig through at least pages worth of stuff, or if I want to go through, say, alphabetically, possibly. But the point being is, there's so many games that are released on that eShop, on the Switch's eShop per week, that good games are getting buried. And with Nintendo going through their investors meeting, like just pretty much confirming, it's like, okay, 20, 30 games a week, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. Sheesh. They have got to find a better way for you to search out great games on that system. If they're just going to continue to avalanche game after game after game per week, at least add some more searchability functions besides your basic, like, scrolling, oh, okay, here's from oldest to newest, or, just go through, search for price, or whatever. I kid you not. Even going through that eShop and going through and buying specific, like, indie games like I have the past month and a half, I gotta go through either on their great deals section or basically search by price, because at that point, I don't even remember, I can't even find, like, specific games unless I search for the price. Yeah. But in essence, it's a good move on Nintendo's part to confirm with, say, their investors that they are having an adequate amount of games that they are going to release per week. And that's good. That's just saying that they got a lot of indie support, no matter the quality of it. But at the same point, my overall impression is it's kind of in the middle, borderline, because not only do you have great games that are being buried currently, like there are in other services like Steam, like on the Microsoft Store, like on freaking the PlayStation Store, but it's like this is one of the main reasons why the Switch games, like indie games, are doing so well on Switch, is because there aren't as much garbage you got to go through in order to find them, and that's one of the reasons why people have been going to this system in order to buy indie games on that platform, preferably. But I digress, though. I would love just to see better search functions on the system.
Yeah. It's funny. This time last year, we were praising, like, the eShop just for how easy it was to find games. And, like, the games that were really good, they stood out. And they still do to this day. But it seemed like every game that was going on the Switch, a year ago was, for the most part, they were really good games, or they were pretty good games, or they were just well-made games. They might have been good or great, but they're, like, well done. And there's some heart to them, at least. And we played some really good ones. We had, like, Kamiko in there, Phantom Trigger, Simmer Clips, stuff like that. And somewhere in the last, 9 months or so, it's like, we've talked about in the past where it's like, they have like 18, 19 games coming out a week, and like last week alone, they had 22 games out alone.
Yep.
So this game, Bomb Chicken, which was shown up at their Nindies event
Yep.
back in March. So this game had a little decent amount of focus on it.
Yes, it did.
Came out on Thursday with no like. There was some fanfare behind it, but it wasn't like there was. It was just kind of dropped. It didn't. Well, there was no like, buzz going in advance. There was like, it wasn't like, hey, it's coming out on I don't know what was it, July 12th or yeah, July 12th.
Yeah.
2 weeks in advance. It's just kind of like Thursday came and now it's out. And then
Yep.
I went and looked on the eShop this morning, and I was just kind of seeing what's out there, like I usually do every week or so. I'll go and look and see what's come out on it, and it was already 9 games deep in the recent releases. One of the games they focus on, I know Octopath Traveler and Captain Toad came out on Friday, but this is one of the games you focused on, and you're like it's just dropped. You're not giving it any extra attention other than that. This game obviously meant something to you a few months ago, and it's out, and you barely promoted it at all. That it's out. So like you said, if they're gonna do this, they need better ways of separating this stuff out. I think like PlayStation and Xbox and obviously Steam are a mess as far as finding stuff, but like as far as PlayStation, it does a pretty decent job of like focusing on the stuff out that's got some buzz behind it, or that's the quality products out there. And the part that really bothers me about the quote is we definitely expect to see some great games among them. It feels like definitely like we're just gonna throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. It's kind of the idea,
which it sounds like.
Yeah, and like it's hard to blame them. Like they're gonna make money. They get a decent cut. It's like 30% cut. Everything that's sold on there, and like Hollow Knight sold like 250,000 copies in the first week it was on there. So I mean, games are still selling well, and like the definitely to quote Macho Man Randy Savage, the cream is rising to was it cream of the crop? It's rising to the top. I think I butchered that one, but like the stuff that is good is standing out, and that's good, and that's great. It's just I just hate that idea of like, yeah, we're gonna get like 25 really shitty games a week, but you might get one or two good ones in there. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to argue it from from a business perspective. It's like this game might sell really well, it might not. They really don't have anything to lose in this. But that eShop is definitely going to need a huge overhaul. Once, I mean, it really needs an overhaul, I think now. But if this is the future we're looking at, and they're going to expand upon it, you got to do something with it. And they've added some new tabs to it here and there, like great deals, best sellers, and so it is easier to find those games that are selling really well, or at least have a good amount of buzz on them. You can just go and you can look at them from all games or downloadable only games. So there's ways to find them, but yeah, like you said, just trying to, if you're looking for something specific, I mean, you can use the search tab, but if you're looking for something specific, it's been out for 2 weeks. It's probably 4 or 5 pages down already.
Yep.
So it needs something. If you're gonna do it, you need to do a better job with your store. But it does suck that we're seeing them go this route where it's just a bunch of shitty phone ports.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not everyone's going to keep tabs of their notification tab or something like that for the releases during that week,
Yeah.
It's like, you go for the eShop, even if you do something as basic as change the certain layouts of, like, say, the way you search for the new releases, instead of having, like, a list, maybe, like, organized inside of a grid or something, or give you the option to do so. That way you can just go through and see, like, multiple games. Maybe, like, 8 games at a time.
Yeah.
Like, on the page or whatever.
Yeah, or you, like, let people start reviewing them, and you can look it up by, like, 5-star ratings. Like,
I know.
You played this game, you can review it.
It still surprises me there's no ratings at all for anything.
I agree. So, I hope they do something. Because it sounds like, they're not gonna change that, which is hard to blame them for. But then again, they need to do a better job of showing off and supporting those games that are coming out there with some pretty big buzz behind them. But speaking of Nintendo, we were I was looking on the Reddit the other day, or today actually, and there was a there's been some rumors about a direct coming up later this month, being a smaller one, not a big one, and some more dropped. And Reddit's been really good about like they've been the place to go for like leaks, especially for Nintendo. They even leaked the entire Nintendo E3 Direct the night before, like 12 hours before it actually happened, and they had everything down to the smallest of details.
Yep.
On it, and it came out to be true, but just nobody saw it because it just came out so late. So pretty much 90% usually of what happens in the direct is already on Reddit, like leaked on Reddit before it happens. So we saw this about a direct end of the month. Obviously, take it with a grain of salt. But we figured since they've been so good in the last probably, I don't know, 12 to 18 months as far as like leaking stuff about it, we go ahead and talk about it. So this is a leak for possibly there's talks that there's going to be a direct on July 22nd, and there's also this one for July 24th. But let me scroll down here. So in this direct, I guess there's been rumors about a Cuphead coming to the Switch. They said in this poster said that there will be. I'm just gonna read this whole thing here, but there'll be a 3DS and Switch Nintendo Direct. No Mother, no K. Rool, no Kingdom Hearts, no Cuphead. It'll start with 3DS stuff. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Ultra Adventures is revealed with a focus on Ultra Space, releasing spring 2019. WarioWare Gold launch trailer. New push mode game called Twist Mo is revealed, where you flip around sections on the level. Luigi's Mansion Remake has a multiplayer mode like the sequel, and releases October 26th. Oops, scroll too far. Bowser's Inside Story Remake trailer, releasing alongside Bowser Jr. Amiibo, coming out in February 2019. Pikmin 1 Remake exclusive to the new 3DS is announced for 2019. Has a mission mode like Pikmin 3, and then it goes on to the Switch stuff. Switch stuff. This is all their quote here. Long, boring story trailer for Daemon Ex Machina, coming out in spring 2019. Labo piano support is coming to Splatoon 2. There's a rhythm mini game in the next update. Yoshi game is called Yoshi's Flip Side, which with different colors like Woolly World, releases spring 2019. Five Nights at Freddy collection with first 5 games releases November 2nd. Sega Ages is coming. Debuts on the Switch August 14th with Alex Kidd and Miracle World, Ground Gang, Sonic the Hedgehog, Thunder Force 4, Phantasy Star, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Puyo 2, Altered Beast, and Echo the Dolphin. And then new Super Mario Party trailer showing off the new boards and minigames. Ridley, Wolf, and Inkling Amiibo releasing December 7th, which you already know. But also Ice Climber Daisy and Snake Amiibo releasing January 11th. Trailer for the already revealed Dreams Friends and Kirby Star Allies. Pokken DX Battle Pass 2 has Beware releasing August 7th. And Therion Landorus releasing September 28th. Fallout 4 is announced for the Switch. No gameplay release date. Mario Tennis Aces trailer for post-launch content. Fire Emblem 3 Houses gameplay trailer showing off army building mechanics. Then there's going to be a montage for Switch games. For Fez, Toe Jam and Earl, Back in the Groove, Super Hot, Undertale, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, Dark Souls Remastered, Bendy and the Ink Machine, Hyper Light Drifter, Mighty Gunvolt X, Mega Man 11, Steven Universe Save the Light, OKKO Let's Play Heroes, Pool Panic, The Battle for Westnoth. And then also there's a new Box Boy game called Outside the Box Boy, being released alongside the ports of the first 3 games in November. Reveal trailer for Acrobat, a puzzle platformer by Grezzo, starring a Magic Rabbit, out in 2019. Mario Tennis Aces online tournament being hosted in August. Pikmin 4 announcement trailer looks a lot like Pikmin 3, but you only play as Olimar, and releasing in 2019. And it ends with a Smash Ultimate trailer showing off Cranky Kong and Funky Kong, and Dixie is a assist trophy. So we were looking at that before the show started, Gables. What are your thoughts? If you were if you're a betting man, you had to put money down on this. Would you bet it's real or is it fake?
I would bet it's real, honestly. And the reason why I feel that this is sort of real has to, in regards to some of the crazy stuff that seem kind of out of place to an outsider looking in. Let's just say this beforehand. A lot of the leaks that have come prior to this one, it just seems really out there and really like kind of like just unlikely. You know, the whole thing surrounding like maybe a potential Cuphead or a Kingdom Hearts port to Switch. I mean, those ones are kind of like unrealistic at this moment in time. One, because Cuphead is still going to get like DLC stuff from the Microsoft stuff, and last time I noticed that was like a first party exclusive sort of game.
Yeah.
But in regards to this list, what's kind of weird about it is like there's just some weird little quirks inside this list that somebody looking at this thing is not going to believe right off the bat. Like, say, the whole, like, a piano sort of labo support for Splatoon 2. I could potentially see that happening in regards to, one, it's Nintendo. They'll try all sorts of little outrageous little, like, miniature stuff. And considering, like, how labo has been sort of ingrained in what they were doing, having something, like, maybe specific to, like, Splatoon 2 actually does sound like something they would do, just cause. Let's see. Another thing is in regards to, say, this whole Super Smash Brothers character reveals. The character reveals, say, for Cranky Kong and Funky Kong makes sense to me, only because the whole thing with Tropical Freeze. But having Dixie Kong as an assist trophy, yeah, that would piss a lot of people off. But at the same time, when they confirmed Waluigi was an assist trophy, it pissed a lot of people off.
He's number one.
So, that's just the thing. I believe having something like, say, Cranky Kong and Funky Kong in there are more likely to actually happen. Especially saying even after the whole Smash Bros. Ultimate reveal that Masahiro Sakurai did confirm that there was maybe like a few more characters left to unveil for it. Obviously, Ridley was the big one that they did by the end of that E3 Nintendo Direct. Cranky and Funky Kong makes the most sense in regards to being playable characters because of them having roles inside of a recent game released on the Switch, with like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
Yep.
But, at the same time and stuff, it's like there are little aspects which kind of make it a little bit kind of like too real in regards to, say, this thing being a leak. Obviously, like a lot of the set dates, could potentially change. I mean, the Fire Emblem stuff that was inside there could potentially be like maybe late 2019 or something like that, but the multiplayer mode in the Luigi's Mansion remake I could see potentially happening, but I don't like the idea that it's possibly going to be like maybe October 26th. I mean, that's really specific in terms, and that's what you see like there's some game releases for some of the games that are really specific days.
Yeah. True.
But you know what? In all, it's like I think that this could potentially be real because of what games that are mentioned, being there are some licensed titles that are going to be included along with some of the major indie stuff that we've already heard of coming to the Switch, like Undertale, Hyper Light Drifter. Fez is the one indie game that we have heard nothing about coming to Switch, so that one is sort of like a bit new to me, and that is potentially a red flag. It's possible. I mean, the creator of Fez is no longer in the gaming business, in the gaming industry, but that could potentially be a grain of salt that you got to take with this. But the whole Sega Ages stuff, plausible, yeah. Could it be their alternative to, like, say, that whole compilation disc? I mean, it's Nintendo, so yeah, that's a possibility too, considering that every other Sega Genesis game that they've had released on their service, they've ended up having to pay, like, they've had their customers pay, like, about $8 to $10 for in the past, for the Wii Virtual Console and for the Wii U's Virtual Console stuff as well. But overall, I would say with about 90% certainty that this is a legit leak.
Okay. So I'm with you there, Gables. I don't know if I go to 90%. I'm like 75%. And part of it is like it feels safe in the predictions, like or like in the rumor here.
Yeah.
Maybe a little too safe, but also at the same time, like all of like everything they say is plausible. Like I remember like 4 years ago, we 3 or 4 years ago, we talked about Pikmin. Like there was a Shigeru Miyamoto said that Pikmin 4 was almost completed, and I always assumed
Yep.
that Pikmin 4 was just turned into be that 3DS game.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it was almost completed, and they just said, "We'll just release it on the Switch." At that point, the Wii U was pretty much they said the writing was on the wall, so it's like we'll release it. I don't need it right now.
Right.
So I mean, that makes sense. The Cranky Kong and Funky Kong being playable characters, which he doesn't specifically say in this post. It just says showing off Cranky Kong and Funky Kong, and then Dixie Kong is this trophy. Those ones, I don't know. I don't know if those two would be both of them would be playable characters. I can see them all those two as trophies, but just kind of breaking it all down, like all of this stuff makes incredible sense. And a lot of the stuff we already know is a thing, but we get these kind of directs where it's just kind of like it's almost like a I don't know. It's not really a mini direct because we actually have mini directs, but
Yeah.
it's just like we have like 2 or 3 really big directs every year, and then we have another half dozen or so. They're kind of like little small ones, and this looking at it looks like that kind of thing. And then it's something I said at E3 after E3 was done. Like there's gotta have to be another direct in July or August or early September. So this all makes too much sense. So yeah, I mean I'm with you. Where if I was a betting man, I had to put some money down on the line for this. I would put down money for this is real. I hope that some of this is real because a lot of it does seem kind of cool. Definitely. It was kind of interesting a few weeks ago when they announced when they were showing off like the Ridley amiibo. I came to the realization I'm like, oh shit, that means we're gonna get a snake amiibo. Which of all of this in here is probably the thing I'm most excited for, having a snake amiibo. But yeah, I don't know. It all makes. It's just the Fallout 4 is like the one thing where I'm just like, that one might be a little too far fetched. But then again, it might not be. I mean,
I'm not sure.
It's like probably the most of like everything in here. Like that's probably the one I'm like least confident in. That's the only like. I would put money down that Pikmin 4 is real before I would put down money that Fallout 4 for the Switch is real.
Well, let's think about this for a second then, Tyler. I mean, honestly, after Bethesda has put out like 3 games and stuff that have been ported from, say the PS4 with Doom, Skyrim, and also Wolfenstein 2, I mean, Fallout 4 could be a legit possibility.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about how it would run and what it would look like because like Doom and Wolfenstein 2 are 2 fantastic games that are stunning when it comes to their visuals and how they're made, and they had to do a lot of work to get them to work on the Switch. And Fallout 4 is a very big open world game that didn't run super well on the Xbox or PS4. So I'm just kind of, that part is that's the only reason why. I'm not saying I don't think it will happen, but it just like I said. All this makes too much sense. Like I said, like a lot of the stuff we already know is real, like the Box Boy trilogy coming to the Switch, we already know is a thing. We already know there's gonna be online tournaments in August. It's in the game. We have some ideas about the post content. I don't know. There's some of the stuff it feels too safe. But you like when like, some of the stuff they get really into details about, like the release dates for some of the stuff, also just seem very realistic. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I feel pretty confident that is the thing. And if this is real, like it's kind of a disappointing direct. It's not like but like like I said, we get a handful of days a year where you don't get a Smash Brothers reveal. Every direct. It's just impossible for it to happen. So when you have 8 to 10 directs a year, only a few of them are really, really going to stand out. So I don't know. I'm hopeful it's true. I guess we'll hear something in the next 10 days or so. Maybe this time next week we'll have a thing on Twitter about hey, there's a direct on the 24th or whatever, because they usually only announce them a few days ahead of time. So yeah, who knows? But let's move on into that's actually the end of our topics for this week. Like I said, not a whole hell of a lot going on. Kind of like I said, we went on Reddit. I just happened to find that an hour before we started recording, and yeah, but I thought it was really interesting and it kind of stuck out. And so we're gonna move on to what we've been playing. Gables, do you want me to go first? Do you want to go first?
Let's have you go first.
Okay.
This one.
All right, no problem. So I've been on a bit of a indie game, I don't know, marathon, I guess, as of late. I picked up a few. I talked about last week. I picked up Hollow Knight and Celeste, and I also picked up a game the other day. It was on sale. I heard really good things about it. It came out earlier this year called Owlboy.
Okay.
So, which one I want to start with? I'm going to start with Owlboy. So I played Owlboy. I've only played for like an hour, but I did not typically care for it too much. So basically what it is, you are you're an owl. You live like in the city in the sky, but you're kind of like human shaped, but you're an owl. I don't know. You're like owl people, I guess. You're an owl boy. That makes sense. Oh wow, holy shit. So I don't know why I just came to that realization, but so in this game, you have like there's like in this city in the sky. There's also like normal people that live up there. Like you have your best friend. I can't remember his name, but he's a human, and you can actually you can pick up things and carry things by your talons, and you can actually like carry him around. He has a gun. You can shoot and you can aim him, and you control what he does while you carry him around. You can fly around. It is, I guess, more in the Metroidvania style of it, of games where like, there's areas you can go to that you can't get to yet because you don't have certain things. But I don't know. This game I played, like I said, I played for an hour. I played to the first area, and it didn't really connect with me at all. I don't have anything like super negative to say about it. Nothing stood out as bad, but nothing really stood out as like this is a game I want to keep playing. I went to the first. I guess my main issue for me for the game is the fact that I have to keep carrying around my friend. You can put him down. You have to put him down sometimes to pick up other items to get through the world. And when you put him down, he is open to attacks. He can't defend himself at all. It feels almost like a. It reminds me when I was thinking this is like Resident Evil 4 when you protect the president's daughter. It's an escort mission kind of thing. That's kind of what it felt like to me. And Resident Evil 4 is also obviously is a fantastic game, but that kind of stuff wore off fairly quickly. And I was just man, this is the whole game. I gotta do all this. This, I don't really care for this at all. Constantly putting down somebody and then picking up something else, doing this, go back, and I have to go back and get him before you he's a little scaredy cat. He's standing there and shakes the entire time. I'm I don't really care for this. So. I'm not I don't know if I'm gonna go back to it, but I don't know. I haven't deleted it yet. If that means anything, I played it, went to the first section, put about an hour into it, but nothing really stood out about it. The next thing I played is Hollow Knight. Picked it up on the Switch. I think it's $14.99. I played a few hours of this game and I cannot get out of the first goddamn section. This game, there's not really much of a tutorial to it, but the way they kind of explain how the game works is really extremely well done. But it's a Metroidvania style game with some Dark Souls to it, where if you die, you lose all your money, but if you go back to where you died, and you can get your money back. But if you die before you get your money back, then that money's gone. But I went to the first section. I'm in the first section. Like I said, they don't really explain a lot. You can I bought a map from a guy, which helped incredibly quite a bit. And then you go find somebody else, and you can you can buy little tokens that help you throughout the game. But what were we saying, Gables?
Oh, I wasn't saying anything. I was just checking.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said something. Anyways, but that helped quite a bit because I was extremely lost. I spent probably the first hour and a half of the game just trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing and where I'm going, because it just kind of spirals down. There's so many areas you can go into and get lost, and
oh yeah,
you get so many there's so many dead ends in this game. At least, obviously it's a Metroidvania where there's, oh, I can't get through yet because I haven't got this yet, or I haven't got something yet. So obviously I have to come back later and do this. And I am finding that quite a bit in this first area, which is to be expected. But I've talked about several times. I am bad at video games. I will never claim to be good at video games or go out there and go on like a confident rant about my skills in video gaming. And I am getting my ass whooped in this fucking game. I beat the first boss. I found this one boss and I beat him. That one actually, it was difficult. I barely beat him, but I beat him on the first try. But I've died probably a dozen times in this game. And then I finally found, like, I was going around, traveling around forever. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, where am I supposed to, like, go? And I ended up finding, like, I've been, like, finding secrets. I'm like, oh, cool. Next area. Oh, no, this is, like, a dead end now. Okay, I gotta go come back to this later. I finally found the next boss, and you have to beat this boss to actually kind of continue on in the game. And I cannot beat him at all. Like, it's not even like I'm getting better as I fight him. Like, he just destroys me. And no problem whatsoever. And I probably spent a good 20-30 minutes fighting this guy. And every time I die, I go back to the beginning, and you get to walk back over there, get your souls back, fight him, die, go back to the beginning, walk over, die. So, yeah, I rage quitted there on that one. I want to go back to it. It is an incredibly well made game. It's much like Owlboy. Like, I think it's way better. It's stuck, like the aesthetic to it, and everything about it, like the way you play it. Like, the game is way more appealing to me. It's incredibly more fun. But just trying to continue on this game is a bitch. I am getting destroyed. And I'm hoping I can get past this guy because I'm enjoying the game quite a bit. And I heard the game is extremely hard. It doesn't which scares me because I guess there's like 30 different boss battles in this game, and if I'm getting my ass whooped on boss number 2, how is this gonna go for me? I don't know. I was wondering, like, I was thinking, like, am I better off just cut my losses now before I put too much more time in this game?
So you're already thinking of it like a Bloodborne sort of scenario.
Yeah, I'm not trying. Like, this is a game I recognize as a really great game, and like, if anybody loves this game, I totally get it. Like, I feel like if this game was had like an easy difficulty mode, like, I would definitely love this game. Like, I would continue to play this game. It's really great. I can't play it. I can't beat the second boss. I can't get out of the first area. So the other game I played, speaking of difficult games, Celeste. I actually finished that this week.
Interesting.
So something that I like, like I said about Hollow Knight, is I am terrible at video games, but Celeste, I heard, is extremely hard right off the bat. But it's got a really great story to it. I'm like, okay, the story interested me in it, but then there's like this, like, then I was like, the more I read about it, and I've been wanting to play it for a while, is there's like assist mode. You can, like, there's so many settings you can do to this game to make it easier. I'm like, oh, that's great. Like, I went from, like, when I first heard about it, I'm like, that looks like a really cool game that I'm not going to be able to get into. Then I'm like, oh, okay, I want to check that out. So it's kind of, it's July, not a lot going on in gaming. So like I said, I've been catching up on, like, a lot of really great indie games coming out this year so far, and started playing Celeste, and I went through it straight right off the bat where I wasn't going to turn assist mode. I'm going to go through this. I knew eventually I was going to turn assist mode on, but I didn't know when. I'm like, I'm going to try to play this game as good as I can before I get to the point, like, my breaking point. And I actually got a lot farther than I thought I would. There are 7 main chapters of this game. There's like an 8th one you can do after the fact. I didn't play it, but it's out there. And then there's also a bunch of, like, B-side stuff you can do. I got to chapter 3 before I finally broke and turned assist mode on. So basically what the game is that you are a girl named Madeline that is climbing a mountain, and she's going through a rough time. She has a lot of mental issues, and on the mountain she meets this other guy, Theo, who just quit his job one day, and he's like, I'm just gonna climb this mountain. And he's like he's very up, like I got 1,000 followers on basically this Instagram knockoff, and he's like taking selfies, and he's a cool guy. But she's going through some issues, and you kind of learn about it as you go through the game. And the story is really well told, and it's really great. One of the better stories I think of this year. But kind of the course, and you like all this stuff happens in between the chapters, or at the beginning or the end of chapters, and basically how the game works is 2D side scroller, really beautiful art, 8-bit or 16-bit, I guess, I don't know. There's a name for it. It's like upres 16-bit or something like that. I can't remember how it's pronounced, but anyways, so Madeline and you are like it's a jump. You jump and you dash. And when you jump, you get one dash, and you don't get another one until you land back on your feet. But you can jump across platforms, and you can grab onto the wall. But you have stamina that eventually runs out, and you can only hold onto the wall for so long. You can like wall jump back and forth off these, but obviously there's a million things that can kill you throughout. And what I like a lot about this is the save states are pretty easy on you. Where basically you have to get through. It's all room to room. Well, so once you get through that past this room, you're like it saves there. So if I like one point I left the game in the middle of the chapter, came back, and I was in that exact same room. So I was worried I had to replay that chapter up to that point again. Didn't have to. It left me right back in the room I went into. And most of the rooms are pretty small. They all 90% of them fit on the same screen, or all on one screen. But they are incredibly difficult. And I like the fact they actually do they track your time and how many deaths you had. So in the first chapter alone, I had 91 deaths. So yeah, so I was going through this game. It's incredibly frustrating, but also extremely satisfying as you're finally landing these jumps and these combinations. I got to the chapter 3. You're like in this hotel on the mountain, and there's just throws so much shit at you, and it's just like it does a really great job of like building up. Like the game's difficult right off the bat, but as they throw things at you, they throw them at you at a pretty good pace. But I just got to this point, I'm like, I can't do anything. I've been stuck in this room for 20 minutes. And I just can't do it. So I turned assist mode on, and there's a lot of different options you can do with assist mode. So you can make it so you're invincible if you want to be, which that sounds stupid. So you can just basically, if you just want to do the story and just fly through the game, you're more than able to do that. Then there's other things you can do, like you can have 2 dashes in the air instead of just one, which is what I did. So I played through the rest of the game with just 2 dashes, and then I turned stamina mode on to unlimited, so I can like hug the wall forever if I wanted to. So it kind of slows the pace of it. And there's also one other thing you can do. You can also slow the game down. So you can play the game at like 90% speed, 80%, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. So if you want to play this game in slow motion, you are more than able to do that. The thing I did is I just turned on stamina, like I said, stamina unlimited, and I gave myself 2 dashes, which still made the game incredibly hard. It didn't, for me personally, especially in the last world alone, I don't get how people did that with stamina and 1 dash. I don't see how it's possible. You guys are fucking machines. It doesn't make any sense to me. There were so many points in this game where I just wanted to like grab my television and chuck it out the goddamn window. But like I said, every time you even not even getting past a room, but you're stuck on, and you keep getting killed in the same jump over and over again, and you just finally land that jump one time. It's just like this extreme satisfaction, even with me playing on assist mode. It brings me back to like a Hyper Light Drifter kind of thing, where that game was like the last game that really challenged me to this point, but I kept going. And I rage quit that game a few times too. And I'm like, I'm never playing that game again. And I got like a day or two later, go back and I play it again, and I finally get past it. And it's just like that feeling you get. It's just like, oh, okay. Like you just feel like you really accomplished something, and it does a really great job of that. Like I said, the story is really well told. The gameplay is fantastic. The platforming is well done. It is Nintendo-esque as far as how well made it is. I feel like, if you're a fan of platformers at all and you like a good challenging game, like this is a must buy. Like I said a couple weeks ago or last week that nobody holds a candle to God of War. This is the first game that holds a candle to God of War for me for this year.
That's impressive.
Yeah, this game definitely surprised. I thought, when I bought it, and I'm just like, I just want to try it out because I've heard so many great things. And I was like, am I gonna go in there think like with too much expectations? Is this gonna be what I thought it was gonna be, where it's just so hard, like, and I'm just gonna finally give up on it at a certain point? And I didn't. And I'm happy. And I beat it. It took me about 4.5 hours, I want to say. I had close to 500 deaths throughout the game, which is I love the fact that they show your deaths. It's kind of cool, and it's actually really cool. So like between each chapter, they get like a postcard in the loading screen, and it says to Madeline. It's basically really to you. And it's like, so there's like collectible like strawberries you can get and like side rooms.
Okay.
There's so many like side rooms and side things you can find, and there's like collectibles you can get, and it's like there's strawberries that you can collect throughout the game. And it's just like one of the postcards you get is, the strawberries are only for yourself. It's not to impress your friends. So don't try them if it's gonna frustrate you. Or like, it's like this game. When you go turn sys mode on, it's like this whole like long note about how this game was made to really challenge you. This game is built for overcoming difficulties, but we understand that people, sometimes people need help, and so turn these on if you want help. It's just the whole way the game handles this kind of stuff is really well done.
That's really professional.
Yeah, it's a game that deals, I think, really well with mental health, and the way that kind of like the loading screens do, and when you go to turn assist mode on, the way they handle it is really well done as well. Like this whole game is just really, 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 really well done. It's a fantastic game. It's $20. Well worth the price. I like I said, I recommend anybody that loves platformers or a challenge should definitely check this game out. But don't be afraid to turn turn assist mode on. I would say a year and a half ago I would never have done it, and I would just quit playing this game. But over that time I'm okay with like lowering the difficulty on things. Like I'm not afraid to like lower game to easy or lower difficulty if I can't get past it. So I feel like going into that with that mentality really helped me on that. So yeah, anyways, love that game. Everybody should check it out. That's what I've been playing this week. What about you, Gables?
All right, to delve into things quickly right here, I have played a little bit more of Pocket Rumble. Ooh. I'm starting to understand some of the grasps of some of the understandings of this game. From what I said last week, I have now figured out what actually executes a lot of like the special moves. It's not like, say, a quarter circle or like a specific input demand. No, you basically can hold down right and like down left for like some of the D-pad, and combination would say like either the light punch or the heavy punch, either the A or B button and stuff, and it just does these like special moves and stuff. But in order to execute a special, you gotta hold the light and the heavy button together and stuff like that. So I understand how to do these moves now, basically. At the same point, I still feel, even going through things like the arcade mode, that the fighting and the enemy AI is inconsistent in some aspects. Well, case in point, I tried to play a little bit of the arcade mode today. I got to maybe my third and fourth fight or something, but I kept on losing repeatedly because of, one, lack of understanding how certain, like, say, invincibility frames work inside of against certain characters, but two, there are times the AI feels unbalanced in ways where, say they go forth and like do like a couple light punches, right? But then immediately afterwards and stuff, they go right in and just grab you and just start doing this, like their own moves. There were times like inside the match when I was playing where I would literally get like about maybe 5 or 6 hits against me, and I was not ready at all in order to try to block. There are some little aspects of this game where it's like, it's fun. It can be fun. Aesthetically, it looks great. The combination stuff, it's pretty basic to pick up, so anybody can really pick up and play, but actually to try to play through a lot of, say, the single player stuff, it is, in my honest opinion, inconsistent. Maybe not like difficult, just for being this, not being like hard for the sake of being hard, but one, the game does not do a good job of introducing new players into what you have to do. Basically, they just throw you into the wolves if you go into, say, the career mode or the arcade mode right away with a character. For another thing is, you got to, because you because of what I just mentioned, invincibility frames. Basically, what that is when you go into the training mode, you have the option of turning on things like that are called hitboxes, where it basically puts like a box like over your character, right? And when you do specific moves, you get to see the animation of the move, right? But then again, you see this different type of box and stuff when you execute the move. Those are basically called invincibility frames. Because if you're doing a specific animated attack and you cannot block a specific place, that's basically what you had to try to delve into and try to expose upon, like, say, enemy fighters. Being that I have to try to do that type of complex stuff on top of trying to play like this game is actually just starting to get a little bit frustrating for me to a certain extent. On one hand, it is fun to play because of how simplistic it can be, but at the same time, my fun is starting to dwindle with this game because of how inconsistent the enemy AI can be at some points. I was reading up on some things, like, say, for some reviews, there were some reviewers that had some of the same problems like I did. Like, say, one of the reviewers on Destructoid went through kind of the same aspects that I've done, like, basically getting your ass handed to you multiple times, like, for a specific fight, and, like, some things, like, not being introduced pretty well. But, reading some bits of other players, they actually have had, like, maybe an easier time because it's basically serves as some of, like, say, other types of fighting games, how you have to practice certain moves over and over again and stuff. I feel like I'm at the place where it's like, I am very close of deleting this game off my Switch. I've paid about $10, I played a little bit of it, but I want to give it a go, maybe one more time or something, see how I feel about it. But I've played it twice, I'm having a frustrating time enjoying this game. It's not because I don't know how to play fighting games. I mean, come on, for God's sakes. I just went through fucking 12 Street Fighter games in a fucking row with that whole PS4 Anniversary Collection stuff. I don't mind getting my ass handed to me. The fact is, if I feel like the AI is programmed in a way where it just feels like it's cheap, more so than it actually requires skill, that's where I get turned off most in a fighting game. So I'll go back to it a little bit later, but it's not looking too encouraging at this moment.
Sorry. That's the thing I heard about that game too, was that because I was gonna pick it up after talking about last week, but after hearing people talk about it, is that I'm like, oh cool, there's a single player mode, but everybody's saying it's incredibly difficult. And these are like fighting game people.
Yes, and there is a reason why it's incredibly difficult. It's just like what I was saying before. The reason why the arcade mode and the career mode are as difficult as they are is because of imbalances in some of the AI, to where you would be doing pretty good. Like, there are some rounds and stuff where you can actually go through and beat a character just like that. I mean, there was one time where I actually spammed the sweep move of my, the sweeping move of my character, right? I basically went through an entire round, just did that on repeat, and I was able to get out my opponent, right? But then the next match, I am absolutely destroyed because there was like a 4 or 5 hit move I did not see coming, and I could not block against it in time. Because not only did it do that, but all of a sudden they're spamming specific types of moves, and it's hard to predict what they're going to pull off next for me. So that in and of itself kind of led into that sort of that frustration, to the point where it's like, okay, I rage quit it twice in one day while trying to play this game. But other than that, I am happy to report I have beaten Burnout Paradise Remastered.
Nice.
I went through, in the span of about 3 days, I went through the A license requirements and like going through winning about 40 events. That was not easy at all. Honestly, I was running into some quirks along the way. There is a little bit of a frame. There's actually a little bit of an animation frame before you start events, to where you can control your vehicle, but you can't like really start the event up until, like, say, it says on the screen, oh, okay, now the event is going, do your race or do your road rage or marked man stuff. There were specific moments where the enemy AI would push me off right before the start off, and I would have to go through and reorientate myself in order to try to get back into a race. Oh man, and speaking of races, there were some that I was trying to complete for racing from one point up to like the observatory, or like to like say like the airfield or whatsoever, where I am basically like just literally a few miles away, and all of a sudden the AI bumps me off course, and I'm literally launched off a super jump, and I'm like completely away from the finish line, and I cannot finish the damn event. That happened to me, I kid you not. It happened like about 5, maybe 6 times throughout my 14-hour play through of this game. That was frustrating. But the good part about, say, this remastered is you don't have to keep on doing the same events over and over if you don't want to. So to break up the monotony, I would go and would mix up things. Like, for example, if I would do like maybe 4 or 5 races in a row and I kept on losing races, which that did happen too, where it's like I win like about maybe 2 or 3 races and all of a sudden I go through a spam where I lose like 4 in a row. I would maybe mix it up by going through like stun events or even like a marked man, maybe road rage here and there. And that, you know what, that was just one of the faults of the game that I actually forgot about when I played through the first time. It's just how repetitive some of the events can get. It's like, okay, you got to race for this same section again. This time you got to do it this way, like this fast or that fast. You know, and basically repeating same events. This time you're doing a marked man or you're doing like a road rage thing. It's like, okay, now you got to defeat like this many type of cars in order to pass this event, you know? I mean, it's fun. It's fun in aspect maybe the first 5 hours when you're going through and you're doing this event or that event, unlocking cars. But when it gets to that last like bit of the game where you're finally going to get your Burnout license, it starts dragging. I had a moment where it's like, man, it just feels like things are dragging. I'm losing races, losing events, you know, go through a separate event, do a couple of road rage stuff, do a couple of marked man. And I would unlock cars, though, but it would be like at a snail's pace. And that's just one of those things that I kept on encountering and sort of like some of the issues. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I did have a lot of fun. And as a matter of fact, I have unlocked about 88% of the trophies on that game. Meaning I am very close to platinuming Burnout Paradise again. But I may try that another time. I've played so much of Burnout Paradise Remastered the past couple days where now that I'm finished with it, I literally put the game in its case, I put it on my bookshelf, and I'm like, you know what, I'm returning to this later. I don't have the patience anymore. But, no, what was funny is going online for some of the events, I was trying to get that trophy unlocked for meeting 7 other players at the Wildcat Stadium. I tried doing that, and there were times where I was kicked out of people's lobbies because I would be at that Wildcat Stadium just waiting for like 7 other people, and it was like, oh, blah, 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 you know, I don't know what, I didn't really care about like the chat, like chatter or something like that, so I would purposely just have everything on mute. But there was a time where they did like a little point and stuff, but there was only 6 other players, and so here we are 7, like, I need 7, and we're just 1 missing. I'm like, oh my god. I maybe did like 1 free burn online event. I still have like maybe 9 more or something, but yeah, it's definitely going to be something I come back to at a later date. I'm in no hurry to platinum Burnout Paradise Remaster. But at the same point, I'm glad I've beaten the game. Unsure of what next I'm going to tackle. But, yeah, it's just up in the air right now. I mean, I could potentially go out and try to get Captain Toad or possibly go try to find something else. But, yeah, it just pretty much depends upon what I feel for the next week. So I'm probably going to have something completely brand new in order to tell a lot of the listeners for the next week. So pretty much that's it.
Gables, have you heard about this great game called Celeste?
I have it on my Switch, and I know I'm going to play it.
Oh, I know you did. Okay. You should play that.
Literally, I bought Celeste earlier on this year when it released on Switch. But now, over the past month, I have Hollow Knight, Owlboy, and I believe there was some other game that I have gotten recently as well. I'm not too sure if it was Battle Chef Brigade. I know I got that one too. But yeah, I am definitely going to go and play Celeste pretty soon.
It's PV Good, guys. Check it out. But I think that, you know what, Gables, I think it's going to wrap up the show this week.
Okay.
Surprisingly, for not having anything to talk about the last couple weeks, we've had pretty long episodes, which is great. But thank you guys for listening. If you want to hear more from us, we have a Facebook page and group. It's Drunk Dashers Podcast. Like us, join us on there. On Twitter at DrunkNerdsPod. Follow us on there, please. On twitch.tv/DrunkNerdsPodcast. Follow us on there, please. Send us friend requests. We like friends. Friends are good. And then on iTunes, Drunk Dashers Podcast. Subscribe to us on there, please. Give us a 5-star review and leave us a nice little comment. We really appreciate if you did that. And also on YouTube, Drunk Nerds Podcast. Subscribe to us on there. I don't know why I had brain fart. Podcast goes up on there. If you guys check them on there. Even if you don't, just go on there, click on the link, give us a big thumbs up, leave us a comment. We really appreciate if you did it. Let us know what you think. The more likes, subscriptions, comments you guys leave, the more is likely that people can see us. So the more you guys can do for that, do for us there, we really appreciate it. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. I was your host, Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. So until next week, everyone, I hope you have yourself a good week. Hope you play yourself some good games. And most importantly of all, enjoy yourself and listen to a fun episode of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Hey, Gables.
Yep.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.